Can Kirby Smart and James Coley sign a historic wide receiver class in this recruiting cycle? That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Now, when I say historic, I mean just Georgia Bulldog related, right? Because I think this could be one of the best wide receiver classes that we've seen, at least in the Kirby Smart era, and probably through the Mark Richt era too. I mean, this could be a very, very strong wide receiver class, and if they get their guys, and their guys are as good as I think they are, and these other recruiting analysts out there, right? This is going to be an exceptional recruiting class and maybe one of the best wide receiver classes in the country in 2025. I'm going to talk about all of that, but first, let's recap, right? They've got two wide receivers on the commit list right now, four-star Thomas Blackshear out of Calvary Day in Savannah and four-star Taylon Taylor out of Illinois. They're both strong, dependable wideouts. Thomas Blackshear, 6'2", around 190, caught 27 passes last year for 551 yards, 5 touchdowns. Could play in the secondary as well. He's a really good athlete. You can hand the ball off to him. Has a kind of a muscular frame, kind of reminds me of Dylan Bell in a way. He's a versatile guy that they can use in a lot of different ways. Tough to bring down. He can barrel through tackles like a running back after the catch. Strong prospect. He's not super highly ranked. He's number 37 prospect in Georgia, 298 overall in the country, but it's a guy that they went out and they liked and they accepted his commitment. But Taylon Taylor is one of the best in the country. It's a loaded wide receiver class nationally, and he's one of the best. He's the number 9 wide receiver, number 3 prospect in Illinois, and he's the number 50 prospect overall. He's a top 50 player in the country. Big deal. 6'1", 175, so he's not as big as Thomas Blackshear and maybe some of these other wide receiver targets that they're still coming after. But in just 8 games, he did catch 32 passes for 512 yards, 6 touchdowns. So when he catches the ball, good things are happening. I mean, it's a big play, and he's been killing it in the 7-on-7, the camp circuit all spring. This is a guy who can leap, can jump, make an acrobatic catch, the body control, works the sidelines well, can make a tough catch in traffic, tracks the ball well, secures it, and is great after the catch too. So there's a lot to like about his game. He's not 6'3", 6'4", but he's got enough length, enough athleticism, and he's a natural. He's a really good athlete. His dad was a running back at Iowa. His mom, I believe, played softball. So, the genes are there. He's a tremendous athlete, and he decided to commit to Georgia. That was a big deal. Now, the next guy who jumps on board, one of their biggest targets, a wide receiver, could commit to Georgia next week, and he might have 5 stars next to his name when it's all said and done. I'm going to talk about him in just a second, but first, I want to plug collegebronze.com. That's where you can get the #1 Bulldog statue on the market today. Listen, selling season is July and August, so get yours today. They take a long time to make. I mean, it's beautifully handcrafted. There's nothing like it out there. So you want to get yours before everyone else starts to buy theirs before the football season. Get a discount. Promo code DAWGPOST, DAWGPOST. It'll be the smartest thing you ever do. Don't miss out on the discount. All the information is right down below in the description in this video. So get yours today before everyone else starts to get them before the season starts, okay? CJ Wiley, that's the guy I want to talk about. If you're familiar with my work, if you're a Dawg Post member, if you've been watching my recruiting videos, you know how important he is to James Coley and the Georgia staff as my son bounces up and down on his bed. He's not taking a nap. That's okay. CJ Wiley's a big deal. 6'4", 195, runs at 10.6 in the 100-meter. This guy checks all the boxes. I think he could be a 5-star. I think it's going to come down to Georgia and LSU, where his father played. He's going to be making his commitment next Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. But he's a big deal. I think it's Wednesday. Led Milton to the 7A title last year in Georgia, the highest classification in the states. Caught 68 passes for just under 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. He can stretch the field vertically. He can outrun just about everyone trying to defend him. But he can run a route too. He's a crisp route runner, quick feet, can get open, create separation on his own. He's tough to bring down, but size, speed, production, potential, ball skills, CJ Wiley has it all. And I think he could be one of the very best wide receivers in the country. And again, that's saying a lot because it's very deep. CJ Wiley, I could definitely see Georgia landing him. I think they're probably the team to beat right now as I'm making this video. There's still a few more days for him to come down to a final decision before he makes his commitment next week. But right now I like where Georgia sits with him and Travis Smith Jr., another really impressive wide receiver. out of Westlake High School. He's the number 75 overall prospect in the country, number 11 wide receiver. CJ Wiley right now is the number 13 wide receiver, but again, I think he's going to shoot way up in the rankings when it's the final rankings come out. But Travis Smith Jr., long, athletic, can make that AJ Green type of catch down the field, jump ball machine. He's tough to bring down after the catch too, but another strong route runner with easy size, and was really productive last year for Westlake. Caught 53 passes, just under 900 yards and 11 touchdowns. George has been after him for a while. He took his official visit the weekend of May 31st. I think they had a comfortable lead after that. And he's to be making his decision. I believe it's July 13th, 12th or 13th. I think it's the 13th. So about 3 more weeks until he makes a decision. I think Georgia sits in a good spot for him. And listen, if they get both of those guys, along with Taylor and Thomas Blackshear, that would give them 4 outstanding wide receivers. But it looks like they're going to sign 5. They just signed 2 in last year's 2024 class. So they're going to try to load up. And under the radar guy to know, who earned a Georgia offer just earlier this month, is Landon Roldan at North Oconee, 6'1", 175, dominated a camp in Athens in front of the staff. They offered him. He's on an official visit to Georgia right now, and you can read more about that on Dawg Post. But he caught 50 passes last year for just under 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns at North Oconee. So he's a local kid. If he's got the green light to jump on board, I don't see him committing anywhere else. I think Georgia would be the team that gets him. But he's another guy who's crafty, can run a really good route. He can stretch the field, but he can help you in the screen and short passing game as well. He's a versatile receiver that is climbing. His stock is on the rise, and he will have a nice little ranking when the final rankings come out. But he's a prospect who's seeing his recruitment take off right now. Local kid with a Georgia offer, really productive last year. Just a 3-star right now, but he's a name to know. And if Georgia lands him, again, I wouldn't necessarily look at the stars as much for these kind of hidden gems that are just now bursting onto the scene. But if Georgia likes him, that's all you really need to know. Tyler Williams is another wide receiver. He's a 4-star out of Sumner High School. Number 56 wide receiver prospect. Didn't catch a lot of passes last year, but he caught 26, took him for 585 yards and 14 touchdowns. 26 catches, 14 touchdowns. You do the math. He's basically scoring every other time he's got the ball in his hands. He's a big play machine. 6'2", 190. So again, they're getting guys with size. CJ Wiley, I don't know if I mentioned it, 6'4", 200. Travis Smith Jr. is around that same type of size, 6'3", 6'4", 190, 200 pounds. So they're bringing in guys with size because you have to block. If you don't block, you're not playing at Georgia. So yes, you have to be able to catch the ball and make plays in the passing game, but if you're lined up on the outside, Georgia's still going to run the ball, and you better handle that defensive back in front of you and, get some room to run for the backs on the perimeter. So you have to be able to block. So they are bringing in guys with size. There's no doubt about it. Tyler Williams brings in that. Another guy to note, keep an eye on, who was in Athens last week for official visit. He could be Georgia's next commitment, by the way, if he decides to make a decision in the next day or two or next week. Jarrell Bolden. He's from Marshallville, North Carolina. Number 67 wide receiver prospect. Again, 6 foot, 200 pounds. I think Georgia likes him more than these other major programs. If he has the green light to jump on board, which right now I think he does, he might pull that trigger soon and commit to Georgia. He caught 43 passes last year in North Carolina, 881 yards, 14 touchdowns. So again, he's got some size, he's got some muscle. He was productive and can really help you out. I mean, he's got a muscular frame on him. He's tough to tackle after the catch as well. He's a tough physical receiver with dependable hands, and the film is really nice. So he's just a 3-star right now. That ranking isn't, gonna get Georgia fans super excited. But I do think he's probably better than his ranking. And if Georgia accepts him, that means they like him more. So if they sign 5 guys, 3 of them being top 100 receivers in the country, 2 of them, Taylor, CJ Wiley, I think, will end up in the top 10 wide receivers. Travis Smith Jr. could be in there as well. But they're going to sign one of the better wide receiver classes we've seen in a long, long time to come at Athens. A lot of it is the depth. Bringing in 5 guys is eye-opening. But it's a full quality 5. They might be 1 3-star in that group. And again, if CJ Wiley, Travis Smith Jr., Taylor, Thomas Blackshear, if those guys are as good as I think they are, and as good as other people think they are, they're going to make some plays. And they're going to try to see the field early. Again, a lot of Georgia's receivers right now are going to be leaving after next year. Dom Lovett's going to leave. Robert Thomas, Colby Young, I think only has 1, maybe 2 years. But if he has a good year, he's going to go. If Dylan Bell has a really good year, he could enter the NFL draft. Arian Smith, I think this is his last year. So there's going to be an opportunity for these guys who sign in this 25 class to possibly see the field next year as a freshman. And these guys are really good, so that wouldn't surprise me at all. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned something. You could read all about these young men over on Dawg Post, but I think it could be, from a Georgia perspective, a possibly historic wide receiver class if they sign 5 guys and get the guys at the top of their board. I can see it happening. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Get your Bulldog today. Get it for the summer. Get it. Make sure it's here before the football season. Promo code DAWGPOST, DAWGPOST. Get yours today. All the information is in the description below in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the website.